This episode of Patriot Plates is brought to you by SaveTheBrave.org, connecting veterans to change lives.
Let every nation know, whether it wishes us well or ill, that we shall pay any price, bear any burden, meet any hardship, support any friend, oppose any foe, to assure the survival and the success of liberty.
Being in the military is being a part of history. And with approximately 18 million veterans in the United States, each one has a story. I'm Major Scott Huesing, United States Marine Corps, retired. I had 10 deployments and led hundreds of combat missions. My company and I fought in some of the deadliest battles in Iraq. And I was fortunate enough to share those stories and honor the men and women who fought in my book, Echoing Ramadi. But most veterans don't get that chance. Welcome to Patriot Plates. Our producers have spent countless hours on the road searching for veteran license plates and the stories behind them. These veterans have firsthand accounts of what happened in our nation's missions, battles, and wars. Patriot Plates believes that all veterans should be able to tell their story. Like many young high school kids that aren't really college material, myself included, I got roped into it by a friend of mine who met the Marine recruiters. He called me on the phone. He says, "Hey, I just joined the Marine Corps. You got to come down here and meet these guys." And I had led a life of pretty high-risk behavior up until that point. I've been fighting, riding a motorcycle, running from the cops, drinking underage, getting caught by the cops. And I went into this room. These guys just stand out with all the color and the uniforms and the ribbons, and the game they talk is impressive. And I thought, man, there's never been a group of risk takers that I'd be a better fit for. So I signed up and I enlisted. Shortly thereafter, I went to Desert Storm, found the error of my ways and went to college. And that's when I decided that getting an education was important to me, and then followed on and got my commission as an officer in the Marines because I still wanted to serve. "300 pages, that's how long my story is. I made the decision to write about mine in an actual book. Way too long for this interview, but I thought it was an important chapter in military history that I wrote about in Echoing Ramadi, one I'm really proud of. It also shares a little bit about myself. So to answer the question, what one story would I leave behind? Well, I did it. I wrote a book about it. There's a story. But my story is more about this connection that we have between people, between not just the people I served with, the people that are on this show, the great generations we interview and get to hear from. It's everybody, the families that support us. Sometimes it's the enemies we fight and the wars we win, the battles we lose, and then connecting with those people. Everything I've written about, everything I always share with people wouldn't be about one battle or one firefight or one heroic act. It would be about people. I did over 100 interviews when I was researching the book, interviewing not just the Marines and soldiers who I fought alongside, but the family members to make sure it was accurate. Not only because it's nonfiction, it's history, but I wanted those stories to be as detailed as possible. I get asked the question a lot, well, how long did it take you to write the book? And I say 10 years. So that's a long time to write a book. You're a slow writer. I'm like, no, that's how long it took for all the people that shared those stories to be able to process it and connect back with me and give that part of themselves. I was able to pull a lot of their stories, a lot of their pain. They gave me a lot of emotion in that. And it became a series of stories about the people. And it wasn't until one point a good friend of mine, who is also my editor, said, there's not enough you in the story. And that's when I had to really take a hard look at myself and say, man, I've asked so much from all these people, all the Marines. They gave me so much. I have to give a little bit of myself. And that's not an easy thing to do. That's what had to be done to really balance the story out. And I'm glad she did it. And I'm glad and grateful for all the Marines and families that shared their story with me. It's really important. Course of my life, my definition of service has probably changed from when I was a young 18, 19-year-old Lance Corporal to being a retired 50-year-old veteran who spent 24 years in the Marines. I think that everybody's definition of service is different. I used to think when I was young it was about all this stuff, about the medals and the parades and the ribbons and the glamour and romance of war, but as I experienced that through multiple combat deployments and meeting so many interesting people, that definition has absolutely changed, because I think that the military, our first responders, we don't own words like service and sacrifice and trauma. Service is also something that everybody can take part in. Serving your country is just one way. And I think I've been fortunate over my lifetime to see so many great examples of people really giving more of themselves. I want to be known for what I'm doing now and for what I'm going to be doing in the future, continuing to support veterans through our nonprofit, SaveTheBrave.org. And I think that is the story that's worth telling, is what the military does for its service members, those who are willing to serve and sacrifice, how it sets them up for success throughout their entire lives. I want to thank you for allowing me to share one of my stories during my time in military service. Don't miss our next veteran story on Patriot Plates. Get notified by liking and subscribing below. We want to thank our special sponsors, the Papago National Guard Base and the Arizona Military Museum, under the direction of Colonel Joe Abodili, who made this episode possible. I'm retired Major Scott Huesing, hoping that the next time you see a veteran plate, you'll think about the story and the sacrifice that went behind it. Thanks for watching Patriot Plates. One veteran, one story.
Save the Brave connects veterans through outreach programs to build strength of character. Our essential task is to prevent veteran suicide. Save the Brave is committed to providing veterans with post-traumatic stress ways to connect in a safe space. To donate your time, money, or resources, visit SaveTheBrave.org. Reach out to a veteran in need and direct them to Save the Brave.